Hi. So in this video, we'll be working with simplifying rational expression. Rational expression is just a fraction that combines monomials and polynomials. So we're going to start by simplifying like a regular fraction. So on this case, for example, we have 36 and 32 that we can simplify by 4. So that means that this is going to be 9 and 8. And then the a and the a square, I can simplify just by using properties of exponent. So that means that is negative 9 over 8a squared minus 1. Right? Remember that when we have same basis and we're dividing, we just subtract the exponent. So that means that this is negative 9, 8a. Now, whenever I have just the variable in the denominator, so that means that I gotta find my excluded value by taking my denominator and equal it to 0. Divided by 8, so that means that 8 equals to 0. That's my excluded value, and this is my simplification. So number 2, simplify by 8, right? Because 8 and 16 simplify by 8. On this case, I'm canceling everything on the numerator. Keep in mind that whenever I'm canceling everything from the denominator, that becomes 1 and we don't have to write it. But whenever everything cancels from the numerator, we do have to write that 1. Because 8 divided by 8 is 1. And then the 2 from a squared is coming down here, right? Because I have the same base. And I'm always subtracting where I have the greatest of the two exponents. So that way we don't have to deal with negative exponents. So a squared, a6. So a6 minus 2 on the denominator. Again, anytime that I cancel out everything from the numerator, again, that a squared is canceling with that a6. That's why it's becoming that 8 to the 4th. That means that I have to put a 1 on the numerator. So on this case, I'm just missing that a cannot equal to 0. Again, anytime that I just have a variable multiplied times a number, I'm not adding or subtracting anything, it's just a equals to 0. Now, let's see what's happening when I have something like this, right? I'm going to start by finding my common denominator, or my common factor between 45x and 63. So in this case, my common factor is 9. I don't have anything as a common factor with the variable. So this is 5x minus 7 divided by 18, right? I can simplify the 9 and the 18, so that means that this equals to 5x minus 7 over 2. And that's it. In this case, I don't have a variable in the denominator, so my denominator will never be 0. So that means that there's no excluded values. Okay, so in this case, I'm finding a common factor of my denominator, that is 8b. On this case, I have a b common factor because I have the letter b on both of them. One recommendation is to find the excluded value. Remember that we have the b equals to 0 also, before you start canceling out, because even though that we cancel out the b, I still have to exclude the value of 0 from my domain. So again, before you start canceling out, start by finding my zeros here. So 8b equals to 0, and if I divide, that means that b equals to 0, so I gotta exclude 0, and then 7b plus 8, so minus 8 on both sides, then divided by 7, so I'm excluding the negative 8 over 7, and the 0. 56 simplified by the 8, 56 and 8 simplified, I have a 7 on the numerator, the b cancel out, so I have 7 over 7b plus 8. Let's see this one. So this one, I can start by factoring out. On this case, I can factor out two numbers that you multiply and give you 90, and you add and give you 19 are 8 plus 10, a plus 9, divided by 8 plus 9. Again, before we cancel out, let's find that excluded value. So a cannot equal to negative 9. And now I can cancel out the a and plus 9, so this means that a plus 10. Number 6 is a little bit small difference right here, right? Because if I factor out down here, I get n minus 2 and n minus 7. Whenever this happens, that both of them are opposite. So up here, you have n as negative. Down here we have s as positive. Then 2 is positive here. Down here is negative. I can just factor out a negative, and then that's going to be n minus 2, because now 2 that was positive is going to become negative, and n that was negative is going to become positive. Again, I found this before I cancel out. So n minus 2 equals 0, n cannot equal to 2, n minus 7 equals 0, so n cannot equal to 7. And now I can just cancel this and that. Don't forget that we had that negative here. Again, everything else canceled from the numerator, so I got to keep that 1. So negative 1 divided by n minus 7. Right, so number 7, again, let's start factoring out. In this case, I think that I'm going to have to factor both of them. So I can factor the 4b on the numerator. So that means that I get 7b minus 5. Then on the denominator, I can factor out the 4b again. So I get 5b plus 1. Again, before I cancel out, I'm going to take the 4b equal to 0. So b cannot equal to 0. And 5b plus 1 equals 0. So minus 1. 5b equals to negative 1. And divided by 5. So that means that b equals to negative 1/5. And now I can cancel out the 4b and the 4b, and so I have 7b minus 5 divided by 5b plus 1. Again, remember that I cannot cancel those b or those 5. Why? Because my grouping symbol goes first. So in this case, this is a grouping symbol, and this is another one. So I cannot cancel anything else. So number 8, my common factor in the numerator is 5p, then 7p minus 6, 5p on the denominator, 2p minus 1. So again, before I did this before I simplify. So 5p equals 0, so p cannot equal to 0, and 5p, 2p minus 1 equals 0, and solve that p cannot equal to 1/2. Now I can cancel out the 5p, and I'm going to have 7p minus 6 over 2p minus 1. And that's it for this lesson. May the 4th be with you.